Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's reported that on August 1st, 2016, a young black woman just outside of Baltimore in Radallstown was gunned down by police while holding her 5-year-old child in one arm and a shotgun in the other. This is another bullshit propaganda story meant to provoke, meant to divide, meant to cause racial tension. We're going to watch the mainstream coverage to begin. Then we're going to decode this article. I'm going to show you this is more propaganda going along with all the other race-based propaganda shootings in the media. This news comes on the heels of all of the officers being acquitted in the Freddie Gray story out of Baltimore. Again, this is from Radallstown, just outside of Baltimore. The entire Freddie Gray story was contrived propaganda by the numbers to divide for political narrative, and this story follows the same path. I really do think the powers that be are trying to get a real reaction from the public, and because they're not getting that reaction, they have to keep bringing these stories with similar details meant to infuriate, killing of a woman with a child in her arms. Let's watch the news coverage. Another man in costume reading the lies, and then we'll decode the propaganda. Here we go.
Tension turned to tragedy on Sulky Court in Radallstown.
We discharged one round at her. In turn, she fired several rounds back at us.
I just want to stop there with that statement. We fired one round at her. In return, she fired several shots back at us. Remember, this woman had a child in one arm and a shotgun in the other. So I want to know what kind of shotgun she had that had these semi-automatic rounds she could keep getting off while holding her child. Sounds like more like Arnold Schwarzenegger with a baby under his left bicep. Let's continue.
We fired again at her, striking and killing her.
Just before 9:30 Monday morning, officers knocked on an apartment door at this complex with no answer. They were sent to serve 2 arrest warrants, one for a man accused of assault, the second for a woman named Korryn Gaines, wanted for failing to show up to court on disorderly conduct and traffic charges. After waiting 10 minutes and hearing voices and crying children on the other side of the door, police got a key.
Upon opening the door slightly, the officers could clearly see a female seated on the floor that they recognized to be the female wanted in the arrest warrant.
Police say Gaines was pointing a shotgun at them and had a 5-year-old boy in her arm. That's when a man in the apartment took off with a 1-year-old boy and a standoff with the woman began.
During that dialogue and conversation, she repeatedly pointed a long gun at the police officers attacked.
They sure love to use that phrase long gun in these shooting hoaxes. A long gun. I'd never heard that phrase before all these shooting hoaxes began.
Personnel.
Then around 3 p.m., police say Korryn Gaines told them, quote, "If you don't leave, I'm going to kill you," end quote. And gunshots were exchanged, leaving 23-year-old Gaines dead and the 5-year-old with a gunshot wound. It's not yet clear whose gun that bullet came from.
And the child got shot. One more provoking detail, no doubt. So, let's look at everything that's coded into this story here. They said the shooting happened August 1st, 2016, which was a date with 45 numerology, and Radallstown also has that gematria of 45. I'm surprised they didn't say the woman had a 45 instead of a shotgun, but we'll get to why they did say shotgun. Last year, there was a shooting of a Nicholas Robertson, who supposedly had a 45 in his hand. Nicholas equals 45, Robertson 45. Supposedly, he was shot 33 times by the police. Police equals 33, race war 33. 33 is typically a number that's front and center in all these stories. Of course, the police are always reporting on them, so our police 33 presence is here as well. Radallstown in simple English gematria also sums to 153. This is a number closely connected to 42, and 42 is a number often stamped on black people. Right now, the Attorney General for the first black president is named Loretta Lynch. A very sick name in regards to our first black president. I assure you, Loretta Lynch is an actress, an agent who took on this name, who's willing to wear that name for money, for power. Think about Lynch and black people. It's sick. Loretta Lynch equals 153. The reason this number is often paired with 42 is because in the Bible, there's the miraculous catch of 153 fish. Fish equals 42, miraculous 42. The most hateful word for black people equals 42. Black History Month is February, the only month that equals 42. It's the Freemasons and the Zionists who have done this, who've coded these numbers of division into these words and made them as popular as they are. The only two numbers when written out that have gematria of 42, single-digit numbers, are 5 and 9. Baltimore equals 95. Last year, Prince put out a song called Baltimore Song on May 9th, a date written 9/5 about the black killings by white police officers mostly. Baltimore Song, released it on May 9th. The numbers most coded over black people in history are 42 and 59. And again, 5 and 9 have the relationship with 42. Negro equals 59, slave 59, blues 59. Prince puts out that song on May 9th, which can be written 9/5 or 5/9. Baltimore 95, the reflection of 59. Baltimore in Pythagorean gematria also sums to 41. Shotgun in gematria sums to 32 and 41. This is a mom with a shotgun. Mom has gematria 41 in simple English. Remember last year when there was the Freddie Gray protest? For a whole day, there was the big story about Baltimore mom. Remember the mother who slapped her kid hard on TV? And then it sparked a whole day's worth of pundits on TV talking about, single black mothers and how they have to use violence to keep their sons in check. Do you remember this? This is why they contrive all these stories so they can program these stereotypes. There's so many layers to the reason they give us this contrived propaganda. They forge legislation. Right now there's something called Blue Lives Matter, and they're looking for more reasons to arm police with higher powered weapons and more body armor and more armored vehicles. Our taxes are going to be paying for this. These officers who just want to wear a badge and have authority, and pretty soon they're going to have machine guns and bulletproof vehicles. And they're going to be even more tyrannical. But anyway, all this stuff is just contrived propaganda by the numbers. If you haven't seen my work on Freddie Gray, I predicted that all those officers would be acquitted by a certain set of numbers corresponding with the Civil War, because the entire Freddie Gray story was a reenactment of the beginning of the Civil War. The first casualty in Baltimore on April 19th, 1861. Freddie Gray died April 19th, 2015. He was injured April 12th, the same day the Civil War began in history. The Civil War began in Charleston. Surrounding the Freddie Gray story was the shooting of Walter Scott in the back in Charleston, and then the shooting of the black church also in Charleston. All of those were the Civil War cities, and all of those shootings were hoaxes by the numbers. So here, let's just read the reporting real quick, and then we'll decode the names. This is yesterday's reporting. An African-American woman was killed and a boy was injured during a standoff near Baltimore. I want to mention that the word boy has gematria 42, this number negatively stamped on black Americans. Brothers equals 42. Think about, people saying boy in a derogatory term towards black men. Boy 42. Boy was injured during a standoff near Baltimore in which police say the woman aimed a shotgun at officers while holding the 42-year-old son in one arm. Just imagine it, you guys, a 5-year-old in a mother's arm with the shotgun. It's so ridiculous. There's a reason they say around 9:20 a.m. There's 60 minutes in an hour. 9 times 60 is 540, plus 20 more is 560. You'll notice further down the page, $560 in fines. We'll get to that in a second. Around 9:20 Monday morning, 3 officers went to serve arrest warrants on a man and a woman in the Radallstown area of Baltimore County, Maryland. The man, Korryn Gaines, 39, remember these Zionists go by the 39 books in the Old Testament, the false Jews, a book of laws. Korryn Gaines, 39, was wanted on an assault warrant, while the woman, Korryn Gaines, 23, was wanted on a bench warrant for failing to appear in court to face an array of traffic charges, police have said. A search of Maryland court And you know why they probably put that in there? I think that's subtle programming. When they were doing all the Sandy Bland story, which was another race war contrived story, they kept bringing up all of her unpaid parking fines. Just stereotypical stuff. A search of Maryland court filings shows that police filed traffic and criminal charges separately against Gaines in relation to a March 11th traffic stop, 11/3, Mainstream 113, Dishonest 113, a number they code into these purposefully divisive stories again and again. Very important number to Freemasonry. Again, it's the Freemasons controlling the media, controlling police. Their mottos are divide and conquer, order through chaos. An officer issued Gaines citations related to her vehicle registration, insurance, and tags, offenses that would have commanded at least $560 in fines, and filed criminal charges stemming from the same traffic stop the next day, according to court records. So the reason for the 560 coding is because it's the same as 56. Black Lives Matter equals 56. The 56th governor of Louisiana just signed the Blue Lives Matter bill, targeting Black Lives Matter as threats to police. All of this is part of that ongoing narrative. And the next week, we'll probably hear about how she was a Black Lives Matter protester. There's probably already a story out there saying she is. It's just also predictable. The man who's said to be 39, Korryn Courtney, gematria of 66 and 75, the small way, 174, the big way. These numbers connect to New World Order and number of the beast. And number of the beast is the number 666. The letters OFF break down to 666, the beginning of the officer sequence. These are numbers often coded into police killings. They have to do with prophecy, ongoing contrived narrative. There's a reason they're coded on this Korryn Courtney. K is also the 11th letter, C's the 3rd. 11-3, 113, March 11th citations. We'll talk about the police officer who went before us in the costume we saw in the video, who said that they only shot one time, as if that... You know, what would you do if you had a gun in your hand and you got shot at one time? You'd probably start firing back. He says it like it's a surprise that she fired back. Anyway, that officer who we'll get to also has this same coding in his name. Courtney has that gematria of 121, the same as Revelation, the book of prophecy. This nation, the United States of America, was created out of the book of Revelation, the book of prophecy. That's why the original capital is Philadelphia, named in Revelation. You know, Revelation's the book about the end times and the false Jews ruling and all these negative things. Think about what the media is. Think about how these people rule the world every day with more and more negativity. Stories of death, killing, racism, hate. So obvious who wrote Revelation, based on the 39 books of the Old Testament, 39-year-old. So then the other one is Korryn Gaines. Her name in gematria, 96, just like Freemason. 105, like Zionism. 114, we're in the time of the 114th Congress, who's trying to make all these new gun legislation laws. And also 123, like conspiracy. A lot coded into her name because of the lettering. Korryn Gaines, the small way, also has the same gematria as Korryn Courtney, 66, 75, plus an 84. United States of America also equals 84. See my book on the beginning of the nation, the first 13 colonies coded with the number 66, Empire 66. It's a New World Order nation. Reason all these numbers are coded. Korryn Gaines, the big way, sums to 156. False flag equals 156. If you write out 33, it sums to 156. The number 911's the 156th prime number. We're talking about the police. 911, a false flag. That's what this is. This is a small false flag. The purpose of a false flag is to have a psychological impact on its audience. These stories very much have a psychological impact for the sake of an ongoing agenda. 920, that time we talked about the 560th minute, the word fear in Jewish gematria also sums to 92. These stories are also probably scaring a lot of people. There's a lot of black people who trust the media who probably think they're going to get shot next. People who are like my mother. If my mother was black, I guarantee you she'd be freaking out right now. Everything in the news scares her. So all the black women who are like my mother, they're probably terrified. You know? The media really has an impact on a lot of people. Also, reading the ongoing reporting from yesterday, Gaines was accused of disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, littering, and failing to obey a reasonable and lawful order. All misdemeanors. A failure to appear warrant was filed when she did not show up to court July 13th, court records show. So, July 13th, 13/7, a lot like 137, the 33rd prime number. All of these stories part of a federal agenda. Baltimore not far from the headquarters of this nation. Washington, D.C., 137. American Meridian, the meridian that cuts through D.C., 137. Authority, 137. Think about the federal government. 137, the 33rd prime. Black Lives, 33. Race War, 33. Police, 33. Federal, 33. Order, 33. Secrecy. Masonry. And that's what's going on. We got these police chiefs in their costumes pretending like they're here for the people, but really all they're part of is their Masonic club. Chief James Johnson, 174, just like New World Order, like the name of the male coded into the story. Chief James Johnson, the small way, 75 like New World Order, 93 like propaganda, and that's what his job is, to come out here and sell the propaganda to the media. Johnson's also a name with 95 gematria like Baltimore, 41 the small way, also like Baltimore, fitting for a Johnson to be the chief in Baltimore County Police. Notice the cross street they gave us on too. Coachman Court, CC 33, Sulky Court. They put all before our eyes for a reason. Sulky Court, where the shooting supposedly happened, has the same gematria as Hoax propaganda. A reshuffling of the letters of the name of the woman. 39 like the male's age. Last year, there's one more thing I want to show you about this news clip real quick. If I replay it, it'll bring it back up. If you notice, the video was 1:28. Can you make that out down there? I know it's small. 1:28. Now the commercial came up. Anyway, 1:28 is the same as 88 seconds. Maryland, where this happened, has gematria of 88. There's only one other story that does, or one other state, California. Think about the Rodney King beating by a group of officers, and then a drawn-out trial, and then an acquittal and riots. When the Freddie Gray thing first happened, there was the riots, a group of police officers, one man, by the numbers. The words poison and program also have this gematria of 88. Well, I spelled poison wrong, but same gematria. Poison and program. And that's what they're trying to do to all of us with these stories. Make us hate each other, make us more miserable, make us act out so that they can, create even more news stories, pass even more laws, enslaving us further. These stories are so coded to the teeth, they even code the lengths of the videos with the numbers that matter. And think about how in TV, they always say, back to your regularly scheduled programming. This channel right here is your regularly scheduled deprogramming. Until next time, truth seekers.